Okay, guys, we got two things to do today. One is just kind of doing this again, and then the other is just you watching a little video presentation on this other thing. This one has problems to do on your own. This one will not. So, okay, and all these systems, you have to solve for X and you have to solve for Y. So right there. And how you decide what one's the first answer, it depends what happens over here. So when I look at these two equations, I see that, well, that has an X by itself, so that's the base equation. And I can box up the X and then circle the other side. Now, I want to write down the other equation that's not the base. So 3x plus negative 2y equals 2. Now you got to put one of these two letters in parentheses, and how you decide which one is whatever letter's by itself right there. It's X, so that's where I put the parentheses. And then so what I do is I just write the equation just the same. I see a 3, I write a 3, but then I see the parentheses, so I'm going to make a parentheses, but I'm not going to put X inside. Okay, and then I see plus, and then I see negative 2. I see y, I see equals, and I see 2. Now, I need to extend that parentheses so it's longer, and then write everything that came after it. And then in that parentheses, we're going to put what the x was equal to, which was negative 2y plus 6. Negative 2y plus 6. That's, again, you can't really read that, but that's what it says. Negative 2y plus 6. Okay, so now the two letters are y. Okay, so that's going to be my first answer. So I need to use my rainbows. And I take 3 times negative 2. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6 with y. And then I take 3 times 6, which is 18. Okay, then I can cross that out, but before I write equals, I have to add negative 2y in there, and equals 2. Okay, now I have two y's, and they're on the same side of the equals, so I'm going to draw my adding pyramid, and I just add them. I take negative 6 plus negative 2, and that's negative 8. Okay, so negative 6 plus negative 2 is negative 8 with y. Okay, well then what I can do is I can cross out these two. They're not there anymore, but before I write equals, I got to add 18 and then equals 2. Okay, so now that I have one single y, I can just dot it and circle it. And then I can take away 18. So I've got negative 8 dot y equals negative 16, and then it's time to divide by negative 8. And negative 16 divided by negative 8 is 2. So y equals 2, so I'm going to put a 2 right there. Okay, now to get the x, all you need to do is go into this little circle and take your y out and just put a 2 in its place. Okay? So I go negative 2 parentheses 2 plus 6, and I got 2 for that one. So if x is 2, y is 2. Okay, my next system says that 8 times x plus 2 times y equals 2, and then the second equation in the system states that x is equal to 2 times y plus negative 6. It's like giving you two facts of information, and you have to use those facts to find the x and y. It's like a puzzle. Okay, so right here's my base, because in that equation, that's where I have the letter by itself. So I have that by itself, and then that's what it's equal to. Okay, so I write the other equation, 8x plus 2y equals 2. Okay, now I got to decide which letter I'm going to put a parentheses around. Well, this right here, the letter by itself is x, so again on this one I'll put the parentheses around the x. Okay, so I go 8, and then I make a parentheses, and then a plus, and then a 2, and then a y equals 2. Again, the reason we put a parentheses there is because I'm going to replace that with something, okay? Then I make the parentheses so it's longer, and then write everything after, plus 2y equals 2. Okay, what does x equal? Well, it equals 2y plus negative 6. Okay, so when I look at that, I see that y is the letter I solve for first, because that's what both the letters are. Okay, so I take 8 times 2. 8 times 2 is 16 with y. 8 times negative 6 is negative 48. And then we cross that out, but before I write equals, I got to add the 2y, and then equals 2. Okay, now here's my equals, and again, the y's are on the same side, so we do our adding pyramid, and that's going to be 18y plus negative 48, and then, oh, sorry, cross those out because that was 18y, and before equals, you got to add negative 48 equals 2. Okay, so I'm going to dot my 18y and circle it, plus 48, plus 48. And 18.y equals 50. So I divide by 18. I'm going to divide 50 by 18, and then something's going to happen. That might not be the most comforting, but I got a decimal, and that's okay. I'm just going to, it's 2.7 repeating, but I would prefer to round it to a whole number. So I'm going to round it to 3, okay? Okay, so I go into the bubble. I'm going to replace that y with 3. Okay, so 2 times 3 plus negative 6 is 0. Okay, that's okay. Okay, my next problem, y equals negative 4x plus 7, and then 2 times x plus 5 times y equals negative 1. Okay, now here's where the letter's by itself, so that's your base, and this time it's a y that we have equals negative 4x plus 7. Okay, so I'm going to write my other equation, 2x plus 5y equals negative 1. Okay, so the y now is a letter by itself, so that's where we put the parentheses. So I see a 2, I see an x, I see a plus, I see a 5, and then I see a parentheses, but I'm going to leave that empty because I know I need to put something else in there for the y. So 2x plus 5, extend it, and then write everything after it. Okay, now we put what the y was equal to. Well, it was equal to negative 4x plus 7. Okay, so this time the two letters are x's, so I'm solving for x first. Okay, so 5 times negative 4 would be negative 20 with x, and then 5 times 7 would be 35. Okay, now before you write equals, you have to add that 2x equals negative 1. Now again, my letters are on the same side, so I draw my adding pyramid. And it's negative 20 plus 2, not just 20 plus 2. Negative 20 plus 2 is negative 18. And then before equals, we have to add 35, and then equals negative 1. So I want to dot my negative 18x minus 35 minus 35. So 18.x, negative 1 minus 35 is negative 36. And I divide by 18, and that's negative 2. Okay, so I go into for my x, and I've just put a negative 2 in there, okay? So I take negative 4 times negative 2. Oh, sorry, my bad. That 18 was negative, okay? So it had to be negative 30. Negative divided by negative is going to be 2, okay? So that needs to be 2. So negative 4 times 2 plus 7 is negative 1. Okay, now this one was kind of confusing. I actually did the base part for you. So I write the other equation as you see. And it's x that's in there, so it's x that got the parentheses. And so I made a blank parentheses and I put 17 plus negative 4y. Now what's confusing about this is the equals is not in the same spot that I'm used to, okay? The 1y will be right here, okay? And then I do my rainbows, so 17, 1 times 17, 17, and then 1 times negative 4 is negative 4 with y. Cross that out. And then I have to add negative 2. Now, we can't draw our adding pyramid because they're on opposite sides. The y's are, okay? I'm solving for y first, okay? But they're on opposite sides, so don't draw the pyramid. What you do is you switch the one over here to its opposite, okay? So plus 4y, plus 4y. So I have 5y equals, and 17 plus negative 2. Okay, so I can dot my y, and then these two I would just add together, okay, because they're on the same side. So I'm going to add 17 plus negative 2, and that's 15. And now I can do my dividing. And 15 divided by 5 is 3, okay? Now I go into this, I parenthesize my y, and it's 17 plus negative 4 times 3. Which is 5. Okay, I don't usually put those on ones that you're doing on your own because that is kind of confusing. The other ones work out just the same way, okay?